Hey there, it's Alex, owner of LoverFighterWriter, and in this video I'm going to explain exactly how to create a lead magnet, specifically a PDF lead magnet, that will get you clicks and conversions and new potential clients. So a lead magnet can really be anything that might get someone to opt in and give you their contact information and become a lead. It can be a video, it can be a PDF, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be instructing how to actually come up with an idea for and create a really good PDF lead magnet. And PDFs are one of the most common forms of lead magnets, so a lot of people, when they're opting into something, they expect to get a PDF out of it. So even if you're providing a video training, it's often a good idea to provide a PDF as well, even if it's just a transcript of the video training or something like that. All right, let's get going. So the first step in creating a lead magnet is going to be to decide what problem the lead magnet will solve. Now, you want this to be very clear and fairly simple if possible, because you want people who are scrolling through Facebook or scrolling through Google or wherever you're going to be advertising or offering your lead magnet, you want people who see that offer to be immediately attracted to it as long as they're your target audience. So you want it to solve a problem that you know your target audience has. Now, the problem that the lead magnet solves can technically be anything, but it tends to work best if you either focus on a bite-sized problem that can be solved in 700 to 1,000 words, or if you create an ultimate guide to doing something. And for the purposes of this video, I'm going to focus on the bite-sized problem. Now, there's nothing wrong with creating an ultimate guide. If you create a really big and in-depth guide to something, that probably will work well as a lead magnet. But I've found that short problem-solving guides can be just as effective, and obviously they're much, much easier to create. So that's what I'm going to focus on in this video. And you really want to think about how you're pre-segmenting your audience with this lead magnet. So just as an example, I offer SEO services, so I decided to create a lead magnet that helps beginners better understand how to optimize their websites. And the result of this decision was that I ended up creating a lead magnet that solves beginner-level SEO issues. And so that's when I created the lead magnet that I'm going to use as an example in this video. That is basically the idea that I came up with, was that I wanted to attract website owners who are not necessarily great at SEO and who don't have an SEO professional that they're currently working with. So step number 2 is going to be to create the content, aka write the lead magnet or outsource the process. Now, the fastest way to get a lead magnet is actually to use PLR. PLR stands for private label rights, and you can actually buy pre-made lead magnets that come with the rights to use them as if they were your own. But if you do that, it will be more generic and a lot less customized. Another fast way is to outsource to a freelance writer. Obviously, this is a bit more expensive, but you can even give a writer PLR as a starting point and ask them to rewrite it for you and customize it to your business. That would be another very fast way to get it done. And again, unless you're creating an ultimate guide, 500 or 700 to 1,000 words is really plenty. Whatever problem it is that you're solving, you should be able to do it in that amount of time. Otherwise, it's going to be probably a bigger, broader problem, and it's going to be harder to address and attract people based on a short ad or a short post or a short whatever it is that you're using to offer the lead magnet. So to go back to my example, since I'm a fast writer, I decided to create my own lead magnet, and I wrote a 1,000-word piece of content that teaches solutions to 3 common SEO problems that beginner website owners tend to make. The third step is give the lead magnet a great clickable title. Now, you don't want this to be clickbait. You want it to be really what the lead magnet is about. Otherwise, people are going to be very disappointed with it. But it needs to do a great job of communicating the contents in such a way that people are going to be interested in it and want to learn more. So you want to keep this simple but compelling. And like I mentioned earlier, you can actually use the title to both segment your audience and to convince your ideal audience to actually opt in. So in my example, my ideal buyer is a website owner. So I called my lead magnet 3 SEO mistakes most website owners make. The title infers that if you own a website and you're not an SEO expert, you need this document in order to fix problems you might not even be aware of. So that's going to make people who read it worry a little bit about whether their website has these issues. It's going to make them want to opt in and get the document. So step 4 is looking at how to actually create the lead magnet. What tools are you going to use to create the lead magnet? So I use Google Docs for all of my document creation. It's a free program that comes with your Google account, with your Gmail account. You can get a better version of these Google softwares if you get a Google Workspace account, and I'll have an affiliate link down in the description that you can use to get Google Workspace if you want, but you don't need it. You can absolutely just use a free Gmail account to do this. So using Google Docs, you either type the information yourself or have a freelancer do it, or use some PLR and modify it. Then the simplest and most straightforward method of doing this is just to export your Google Doc as a PDF and you're done. But that's not going to be very fancy. It's not going to be very nice looking. So a fancier method is to take the content that you wrote in Google Docs and put it into Google Slides, which is another piece of free software in the Google Workspace. And you can use this to make a nice looking presentation, like a PowerPoint presentation, and then you can export that as a PDF, and you're going to have a better looking PDF with more visual engagement, and you can kind of control where everything goes a little bit more easily. But that's still not a perfect method, and it takes quite a bit of time unless you're really good with the software. So the fanciest method, which is the method that I actually use for most of my lead magnets, is a program called Designrr. And Designrr allows you to import content from a variety of sources. I usually use a docx file, and it'll convert it into a really nice looking PDF for you in just a couple of clicks. So if you want to check out Designrr, there's going to be an affiliate link to that in the description down below. And like I was saying, you can just export your document as a docx and then import it into Designrr, and it'll, in a couple of clicks, it'll take care of everything for you and give you a really nice looking lead magnet. So here is a lead magnet that I created using Designrr. You can see it's the one I was talking about. 3 SEO mistakes most website owners make by Alex Tucker. This cover was provided by Designrr. I just had to kind of choose it and then click a couple times, and all of a sudden I had a really nice looking PDF, and I was also able to export an image of the cover. And step number 5 is finding an easy way to deliver the lead magnet. I like to use my Google Drive with a direct download link, and then I use a GetResponse autoresponder to send people that link who are on my email list. But you can just use any file hosting and any autoresponder. It doesn't need to be Google Drive. It doesn't need to be GetResponse. And actually, some autoresponders will include lead magnet hosting for you so that you have a way to deliver those lead magnets. I believe GetResponse does, in fact, include lead magnet hosting. I just like to use my Google Drive, so that way if I ever stop using GetResponse, I don't have to change where my lead magnets are. And now let's just briefly review this entire lesson. So step number 1 is to decide what problem the lead magnet will solve. Step number 2 is to create the content. Step number 3 is to give the lead magnet a great clickable title. Step number 4 is to create the lead magnet as a PDF. And step number 5 is to find an easy way to deliver the lead magnet to your audience once they opt in. All right, so that is how to create a PDF lead magnet. Hope you found that helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.